Kelly from Cards by Christine here with you on a Technique Thursday to share with you a card inside of a card. I love it, and I think you will too. So, sentiment on the outside, a little something to brighten your day on a kinda intentionally dreary card. Open it up, sending you a rainbow of happiness, definitely brightens it up. And then here's the inside of the card. So, I don't know if this has a name, but I called it a card in a card. And I'm going to walk through making it with you. So, we're starting with a basic gray card base. I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. So, your card base is a standard card base. So, we've got 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. So nothing special there. And then you're going to burnish it with your bone folder. I love the Rainbow of Happiness bundle so much. I haven't been able to get it yet. It is currently unavailable, but it's coming back soon. So I will jump on that bandwagon as soon as it's back. I've never used it yet. Although, like I said, I really, really like it, so I knew I was going to love playing with it, and it does not disappoint. So, that's your card base. Then we're going to use a basic gray mat at 4 by 5 1/4, and we'll decorate that and all that good stuff. But then you're going to open it up and make the inside card. So, we've got 5 1/4 by 4. But because it's a card, it's by 8. So, we've got 5 1/4. So, trim that little sliver off. And then by 8. And then we're going to score it at 4 to make the inside card. Now, the only thing that's, oh, this came out of the track. The only thing that's special about the inside card is that it's going to open left to right. So when we're decorating it, we just need to remember that we're not decorating it like a normal card. We're decorating it so that the crease is on the right side. Okay, so we've got those 2 layers. And then the inside layer is just a piece of basic white, and we're going to shrink it down one more size to match for the inside. So we've got 5, which is what I have that cut at, by 3 3/4. And then for that layer, I am going to go ahead and die cut off the bottom the little rainbowy fringe, but I'll do that off camera because that's not something that you guys need to see or see in action. Okay, so really that's the technique. Nothing groundbreaking here, but we're gonna decorate it together because I love it and everyone needs a little bit more rainbows and sunshine in their lives. So let's start with the outside. So we've got a sentiment, a little something to brighten your day, stamped in memento on basic white, and then punched out with the cloud punch. Ooh, it's so hard to see that. So, well, there it is. Then we've got a variety of additional clouds punched on smoky slate, and then ran through the painted texture embossing folder. So let's get to decorating. We're gonna bring in the basic gray mat, and then we're going to stamp it using these vertical lines that are to represent rain. Where's my scrap paper? Oh boy, we got shifty going on here. I'm not seeing, here it is. With an inky fingerprint and all. Okay, so I was a little thrown by stamping with this stamp. It was a lot more difficult to keep them straight than I thought it would be. And that's okay, just something that you may want to play with before you stamp it the first time. So I did stamping off, and I tried to kind of cluster them. See, I already got it crooked. That's okay. So I tried to group them so that I wasn't equally spacing everything and that there was some empty spaces as well. And I really, really tried to override my internal OCD that is not real happy about the lines that aren't perfectly vertical. It is what it is. I figured it was going to be more difficult to start over and try again than to just accept that they're not perfectly straight. All right, so that is done. We're gonna close up our ink pad as to avoid disaster. And then glue down our cloud. There we go. And then glue flat one of our smoky slate clouds. And then pop up, oopsies, pop up another one. So let's get our dimensionals. I used 3 big dimensionals and 1 small just to hold up this corner on the side here. Then it was time to embellish the front. So admittedly, it's not a super exciting card front. It's supposed to look drab. It does. It absolutely does. Obviously intentional. So I didn't want to over embellish, but what I did was I colored in the clouds with Stella, which made a big difference. And then I brought in some embellishments that are intended to kind of look like raindrops, but have a very nice like holographic sheen to them that is just enough to make the front look complete, but not overly exciting, if that makes any sense. Because, you know, it's dreary and drab, and that's okay, because that's supposed to entice the person to be all the more surprised when they open it up. Okay, so once you got a good layer of Stella down, then we're gonna grab our take your pick tool and the embellishments and go to town. So we like to usually embellish in increments, or in odd increments. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 5. So these are large and small. So I'm going to grab 3 bigs and 2 smalls and just make it look like rain. Okay? Then this can get adhered to the card front. So now this is business as usual. So we're just going ahead and applying this on your card front just like any other card you make. Okay. So that can dry while we're decorating the inside. Get remember if I cleaned off my stamp or not. So for good measure, we're gonna do it again. Alrighty, so on to the inside. And I intentionally wanted to decorate the inside with you as part of the learning. So we have our card front, and we want to make sure that we burnish it. I think I didn't burnish this one because it's holding open pretty well. So let's go back and burnish that. Now, like I stated before, when we're decorating this, we want the seam or the crease to be on the right side. So that is extremely counterintuitive so for our card making crew out there. So just know that gotta be aware of that as you're doing it. So I'm gonna bring in the Bermuda base, so tone on tone stamping here, and we're gonna stamp on and off a variety of hearts to just fill up, just like we did with the rain streaks on the front. We're gonna do the same with these hearts here. Very random, just filling it up. Now we're gonna be decorating with a rainbow and some clouds too, so I'm not gonna fill it quite full, but full enough. Okay, I think that'll be good for now. If I need to add more later, I absolutely can do so. Okay, now the rainbows. So, I got some tips for you on this. Like I said, super excited about the rainbows, so I was excited to give it a shot and play with it. The rainbow stamp is made up of 4 colors, so I chose Gorgeous Grape, Bermuda Bay to tie into the whole scheme of the card, Daffodil Delight, and Poppy Parade. I love how that turned out. I might, for this one, stamp off the yellow so it's not quite competing with the sentiment so much, but didn't turn out bad. Okay, so a couple tips. You need a good size piece of paper to stamp on. Don't be chintzy with your paper because you want to have enough room to start on the inside and move up. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I'm trying to say is I'm going to stamp from the purple out to the red. And because these stamps are photopolymer, there's a little give on them. So I learned that it is best to start on the clean side of the paper, to start by placing your stamp on the paper and then picking it up with your block before you go into your stamp pad. Okay. Now our inks always look really dark when you first stamp them. They lighten up as they dry, so don't let that startle you. And then because this is a lot of ink, I'm going to stamp off so that I don't carry so much ink into my chamois. Then on to the neck. So this is where it really gets important, that I'm laying my stamp down so that I'm finding out how it needs to. I mean, it's got pretty good integrity. However, you do still have a little wiggle that you just want to deal with. Okay, pick it up. And then I like to try to keep a very straight horizon line, and that's what I'm looking to center it on. So I'm looking to make sure that my bottom of the rainbow hits next to its I don't know, little brother on the inside there. And then just lay the stamp basically from the bottom up, if that makes sense. Now, rainbows are fun and whimsical, so it's not the biggest deal if it's not perfectly straight, but you still want it to be within reason. Okay, so here's where I'm going to remember to stamp off. You're going to probably see my head in here for a minute. Okay. All right, the last one has the most wiggle. So this one, you want to be the most careful about how you lay it down. And then you do need to bring in your bigger block for this one. Doesn't quite fit on your D block. And it's very important that it gets even pressure. So you don't want to try to make it fit on a block that it doesn't. Another way that you could make your rainbows is using the Stamparatus. That would absolutely help with your placement. All right, lay the beauty down. Oh, so fun and beautiful. I love it. Okay, then we're bringing in our sentiment. Again, same concept here. Put your stamp where you want it before you put it on the block. Then we're going to bring in our memento. Okay, and you're gonna have a little bit of dead air for a second here. I need to go grab something. I will be right back. Okay, I am back. So sorry about that. Now, so I cased this card and I really liked it, but I did make a minor change on the inside that I liked just a little better how it flowed. So I kind of fussy cut the rainbow, and that you'll see this here. So what I did was I trimmed it down into a rectangle that had equal border on each side. And then to have the most ease in fussy cutting, what I did was took the rainbow and just free cut it. So that when I have my scissor, like obviously I'm not keeping it that way, but when I have my scissor, I'm kind of making shorter cuts. So I only need to cut from this straightaway to the next straightaway. And that was just to help me keep consistent without having such a long cut to keep going on, if that makes any sense. I'm just making shortcuts instead of long cuts. Ha ha, shortcut. And then, if I wanted to, now that I have the start, it was a lot easier to trim it down if I needed to. And I really don't feel like I'm going to. Now, I was almost done at this point, but I felt like it didn't pop enough on the white clouds that are behind it. So what I did was I took Smoky Slate. You know, I didn't know if I should mat it with basic gray. I thought that might be too heavy, and I wanted the heaviness to stay on the outside and the cheerfulness or the lightness to stay on the inside. So I decided not to do another layer of paper. I grabbed my Smoky Slate. Don't know if I still chose the right one with Smoky Slate. I think so, because it's the lighter gray. So I grabbed that, and then I grabbed my sponge dauber, and I just highlighted the edge by bringing a little bit of Smoky Slate ink. So it's not really even that noticeable, but when you lay it on your card, it definitely helped it stand out. Okay. So go around the whole way. Then we just bring in our card and our, I was gonna say snowman. All right, our card, our rainbow, and our clouds. We're just gonna decorate the inside with our clouds. You know, I thought long and hard about if there was a way that I thought I could bring in some resemblance of sun or like rays of sunshine. Couldn't come up with anything. So if anyone has any thoughts or ideas along that avenue, definitely shoot them in the comments. I'd love to see if anyone thinks of a way that, you know, we could facilitate that. Okay, so 2 clouds in the bottom half, and then 1 cloud. And I didn't trim these per se. I just, I had a scrap of white that was just a little too narrow for the clouds. But I knew that none of the clouds were gonna be whole on here anyways. So I just went ahead and punched them out, and now I can trim anything excess, but because they already weren't full clouds, it was not so much that needed to be trimmed. And we're just gonna throw some glue behind our rainbow. Woo! Got close to the edge there. Man, this just makes me so incredibly happy. Okay, then we are going to glue it into our card. So here is the card inside a card. That's our whole technique. Okay. Go ahead, give it a little firm pressure, let that glue sink in. Then for the inside, all I needed to do was stamp a sentiment. I'm kind of carrying that Bermuda Bay with me throughout the whole card. So I chose Bermuda Bay and I chose the sentiment. There's a couple to choose from. You know, I didn't know if I wanted to do you make this world a better place. Love that. But I just went with the generic you make me happy. If I haven't sold you on this stamp set, I don't know. I'm telling you, this stamp set just really speaks to me. It feels like it was made for me. Okay, so go ahead, grab your mat. I'm pretty sure that's what this piece was. Yep. Grab your sentiment, you make me happy. Stamp it towards the top, nice and centered. And then just to spare you some time, because my video already got quite long, I would just take this over to the die cutter, die cut that rainbow edge along the bottom and glue it on the inside. That would complete your card. So let's bring the original back in. So we've got our beautiful card within a card. What do you think? I so love it. It makes me so happy. It's such a cheerful card. Cards are made to spread joy and love, creativity and cheer. So this card fully embodies all of that. So I hope you enjoyed this technique and the card that we created. And you can catch Chris later tonight for some live card making.